Okay.
The card for today is kind and firm, and the internet is really trying it first. So being the positive, disciplined parents and nurturers that we are, I'm giving the internet a solid look here. Okay? All right. All right. Let's continue.
That card is perfect though. I had the card from Sunday on my mind all morning too.
Cool. Well, we can discuss obviously everything, both and all.
Yeah. Practicing saying what to do and what not what not to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it was teaching children what to do, in that space of what not to do, and also showing them, realizing that they learn by demonstration, so it's not just to like say, but to demonstrate. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
How do we usually do a, I think we did a recap last time because there was something to highlight. Do we always do a recap? I don't recall.
I don't think we always do a recap. I think something just came up last time and we ended up recapping.
So I'll start by introducing the card that I pulled for us for today. Is kind and firm again, like I was saying, and it says, the summary says, it is the and that brings kind and firm together to avoid extremes. So not just kind, just firm, kind and firm, finding ways to be able to express what we need and want from the spaces of discipline as in practice, in a way that is devotional, kind, considerate, connected, and firm, unwavering. As in, if this is the focus and this is the goal, then we're going to do everything that it takes to get ourselves there as a unit. And asks us to remember to be validating of feelings, to show understanding, to create choice as much as possible. And I really appreciate that, creating choice. And as usual, I'll put the link in the bio. I won't read the rest of the card, but we can talk about that. So how are we doing, Mommy and Nenen?
Doing pretty well today. Yeah, today has been going. I'm happy with how it's going. Yeah. I have like slight schedule changes coming next week, which actually makes life a little bit easier for me. So the people that I work with just told me that they're shortening their work week. So I would be submitting my work a day early, but normally I already have like the Fridays off because of the time zone. Like they're on the other side of the world. So I just get my work done late at night, the night before, and I get the Friday off. But now that's going to be Thursday and Friday. So I'm excited. And then today I just...
Of course we would attract that right now. Happy birthday season. It's our first one of these during your birthday season.
Yeah.
Celebrate everything. Like, wait, there's something here.
There's a lot of things that like just kind of fall into place without me even realizing that I wanted that.
Yeah. So I feel like I need to sort of cut you off to give a bit of thanks for your life for a second, and then we'll go back to you.
Okay.
I want to just tell you, she's like, okay, if you want to just lick me all over and tell me how wonderful I am, I'll take it. Before I do that, I want to do a little show and tell. I posted it on my page, but I ordered these blue light glasses. It's blue light reduction. I got 3 frames. One is like a Jaguar, one is all black, and this one's black and red. And they're so cute. Yeah. Anyway, but they reduce the effect of the blue light on your eyes, because we're all like working from home on the internet and watching TV, watching Netflix or whatever. What up, Netflix? Try to sponsor us here. Watching our shows, and we're we're having a lot of screen time. They have them for kids and for adults. I mean, I'm gonna go crazy and get all sorts of fun frames. I personally don't need any glasses. I have better than 20/20 vision, but it's called 20/21. It's a real thing.
Me too.
Yeah! It's a siren thing. And you see, when you use your voice, when you scream and tantrum and use your voice clearly and your ways of expression, all of the other senses are heightened. We'll talk about that. Anyway, so I just want to share that with everyone because I think it's very important. I'm very, very sensitive about my eyes. I do my eye exercises. I eat carrots. I do whatever I can. I don't eat carrots actually. I've bought carrot powder because I don't really like eating carrots, to be honest. As much as I'm vegetarian and I love vegetables, there's something with me and carrots, but I know it's important. So I've recently ordered carrot powder, sidebar, for anyone who's out there like me, taste bud wise. However, yeah, my eyes are very important to me, and I'm sharing it for anyone who's concerned about the effects of the screen on their eyes to preserve it. So anyway, I have mine with 0 magnifying. I don't need them as reading glasses. I only have them for the blue light. And when you put them on, you definitely feel the difference. Like you can see the difference. So yes, so that's a plug for anyone who needs that. And then I want to say, I actually canceled today. I sent you a string of messages to cancel today. And you didn't get them. I was calling you. I was feeling so sick. I'm on my cycle and I'm feeling all this Palestine stuff, and I'm feeling all this stuff that's happening in the whole world all the time, every day. And I'm feeling all of the trauma work that I'm doing. And I have 2 people that really tried it with me in the last week who I have cared about a lot, and I really have to 3 people actually, and I really have to reframe my whole way with them, and I'm really trying to mind my rage, give myself my outlet for my expression, and not cut their necks off in my spiritual way. And so I'm really, it's drained me. This week has emotionally drained me. So as much as of course I know when I get here, I'm excited to be here. I'm so happy we do this. It means everything to me. I was like, oh, come on. My inner child was a mess. And I was sort of in a place of minding my inner child. My inner child was minding me as a depressed mom. And I didn't like that dynamic. And I was trying to balance that. And I was just a total mess this morning. So I was like, I messaged you and I was like, I can't, let's try for next week. And then I started reflecting and I was like, the thing that this podcast and what I'm doing with Neil on Sundays, because I told Neil the same thing before Sunday. I told him I want to stop doing the the Sundays. And I'm going through so many changes with my work and my way. And I was just like, but these 2 things are high culminations of your work and bring you so much joy. Don't let all of these other things that have drained you, admit they've drained you. They have, in context. But you're so vast and you've worked so diligently, so kindly and firmly with yourself through your trauma to create this world, to create this safe space that you have, to create this space of clients and kin and colleagues. In the same week when you are going through this stuff, you're gonna tell Neil and Zan you can't make this week. And I was like, no. So I just deleted all the messages I sent. And I was like, it means everything. I was on a roller coaster, and I just want to say it means everything to me. I mean, this is your life, right? If you weren't here, I wouldn't be able to say this to you and what you mean to me. And so I just want to say that thank you for being so receptive to my work, to a place where you've become a colleague, and that you and Neil are true testament to my work and my rape trauma and my life, all that I have been building. And there's this thing in Four Colored Girls where there's a poem, someone just almost ran away with my stuff. I don't know if you know that poem.
No, I don't think I've heard it.
But it's speaking about suicide, and it was just like I almost killed something that I worked so hard to build just because of some old energies that were really coming. And it's just like the paradox of how strong they were all coming this week. And I had my other two soldiers, you and Neil, on the other side, like, nah, like, this is happening Sunday and Tuesday, and we are doing this. And I mean, yeah, I know you know what I mean further when I say that. I don't want to go on too long, because I know we have a lot to discuss. I know what I'm saying is important as well. But what I want to say with that is, in building such a safe space, it's become a safe space for me. Both spaces are safe spaces for me. And I don't know if you remember when you had asked me to be Soleil's spiritual grandmother, and the whole nene, and the whole reason that we're doing this. I had mentioned to you that one other person had asked me ever to be a godmother of their child in the same way, and I told them the same thing. And I cried so much watching the live over on Sunday, because it was Chatal.
Oh, wow.
So it was just like I could have canceled that live and not had that experience of watching my two kin. Oh, I see your little mermaid scale situation going on here. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I you know, again, that poem, someone almost just ran away with all my stuff. It's like, you almost canceled probably the two most important lives of your career. That means I would be crying right now, but I'm so full of power and joy. Like, I can feel the tears somewhere, and I'm not holding them back. They're just, I've cried all I need to cry. I feel, and if it comes, it comes. But that's what I said. I said it's a safe space where you can cry. It's a safe space where you can show kin how to be vulnerable, which you always do anyway. But it's why I don't like to do lives by myself, because I know myself, but I think that I'm always wanting to show the most effective connection, and how we run away from, we are so addicted as a collective. We're addicted to disconnection, and I call it the need for this connection, because we are so malnourished for the attention. So I'm so thankful for all the things that you've gone through that I don't know about you. Even as much as we are so close in certain ways, there's so much I don't know about you that got you to a place where you would be receptive to me, and that we would get to a place where we could do this for parents and nurturers everywhere, not just mommies and nenens, but all men, women, and children who nurture, especially children. That was where I was this morning, especially children who nurture their depressed parents, and how difficult that life is, and the extent to which I've been there, and the extent to which I've been such phenomenal pediatric support for the adults in my life and the male lovers in my life specifically. So yeah, that pediatric psychological support that I'm so phenomenal at has really culminated in these two spaces that we have all created together. And I'm just so thankful for you and for your life and for our work. And this is me feeling low and weak and tired and exhausted and sad and burnt out, and I look really good. And I'm so thankful that I can be that in this space and in the spaces that I've created with all my kin.
I love that. And I so love that that moment that I had with you and Chatal on Sunday. So I'm so glad that you brought it up, because it really just showed me what I saw in her is the same thing that the same thing in me that attracted me to you as well, because we have such similar stories. Like, I'm looking at her and I'm like, wow, yeah, trust me, she knows. She knows exactly how I feel because she's been there, you know. And I love the lives on Sunday. So I'm so glad that you did that one in particular, because I got to you know, see her and hear her perspective. And she it's funny to me because she had her baby 10 years younger than I was when I had mine. But the experience was just so similar. It was so similar. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's life, it's love, it's the raw that we live for, you know. It's that siren scream, it's the justice.
Yeah.
Who knew that was the day that she would just end up popping on the live? Like, life alone knew, and we in soul packed energy knew. But it was just like, I was feeling I'm literally bleeding. You know. And so I just feel like, oh, but I'm like, you know, but this is this place where you can be that. You can be all that you are in these spaces that you have cultivated and created and held bridges open and doors open for. You are not alone. You've created community. You've created worlds with kin, and yeah, there are so many things that bring us to the brink and bring us to the bottom, to the root, where we started, where we've been before, where we will continually dance up and down the spectrum. And that's our vastness, and that's our power. You know, what's gonna happen? You're gonna cry on the live, break down, be silent, and what's gonna it's nothing. Like, this is what you do. So there's you know, this is the power of being nurturers and admitting where we've been malnourished and asking for help and being receptive to help, to the point where we don't have to ask for help, because it's so nurturing to connect. This connection that we have cultivated is kind and firm.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
Sharing that.
Yeah, so happy birthday, Susan, and thank you for your life. And it's so powerful as well. Orange and green, you know, means a lot. And look at that.
Yeah.
And you know it means a lot to you. It means a lot to me. And I remind you, it means to, in Sacred Dialogue for me, it means to die doing what you love. Transition thriving is what I call it. And it's because of my aunt who passed away, and she was a teacher, and on her deathbed she was still teaching on an oxygen tank. She had people, she was a teacher at Arthur Teacher Training College, and she had teachers coming to her on her deathbed teaching.
Wow.
And she told me, we die doing what, thriving, the way we die doing what we love. Keep doing what you love. So if I was dying this morning, I was like, well, then if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go on the live. I'm gonna go on the podcast. What a way to go. Like, it's orgasmic.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that's that reminds me a lot about how children go to sleep. Like, you know how we as adults will kind of tone down and get ready for sleep and, you know, get a little bit more.
It's like the knockout.
No, yeah, they just keep going and going and going. Like, I swear, if they could fall asleep running, they would. Because I remember Sola used to fall asleep crawling in circles. Like,
that
he would
part,
just
I love that. That makes so much sense.
They were like, no, but I'm still up, so I'm still gonna play. No, I'm still up.
My brother would fall asleep reading with his legs up. Like, he would fall asleep exactly how he was, like propped up position, chin under his hand on his chin, like knee bent back up, and the man sleeping hard.
Oh.
As a child.
I'm not going out until I'm ready.
and he loved reading. Like, that was his thing. Like, he would be like, he'd like, go to bed, put off the light. Like, nah, the man reading. And yes, I love that. That makes so much sense though. fully engaging life and going out with a bang, living the orgasmic way, walking orgasmically, that pulsation, that erotic engagement of life, and the sense. I really love that. Wow, yeah. Thank you for that observation. So yes, another thank you.
You're welcome. So that made me laugh last night too, because I put him in bed and he was complaining, asking, like he really wanted to do subtraction last night at 9 p.m. So I let him do one sum, and then I was like, okay, now we have to come back to it tomorrow. That's it, like it's too late. But he really wanted to go to sleep while doing math.
I love it. I love it. Another thing that's coming up for me that I'm doing some work on is how we navigate saturation, feeling saturated. So saturated, of course, as in overstimulated, so much going on, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And also the spectrum of saturation, like life saturation and color, light, and color, and sound and taste, when it's too this and it's too that for your own taste versus others, and your changing taste and your seasonal taste, because that's where I'm still in a space of perhaps changing the schedule of how we do these, not to stop it, but to still change it, because I truthfully am so saturated, so finding that balance and trusting the network can shift up and down the spectrum to balance the scale, like slide the weight, so that we can continue doing this. And that was the same discussion I had with Neil before our live. So, but I'm just throwing it out in the space of nurturing and tantruming, right? So those of us who nurture, admitting where we're saturated and where we need reprieve and where we need some subtraction.
Yeah. We need a different kind of nurturing, because there are times when there's something that I need to get done, and my focus is more on disciplining myself so that I can get it done, or adopting like more discipline so that I can keep something up. But there are times when I have to just give myself a break and say, you don't have to do this. You really don't.
And that was what I'm going through, the thing that I'm going through. Like I have technically 2 deadlines that are due today that I decided it's just not going to get done. Like, because that's what I was like, okay, I'll cancel the podcast. And I was like, you're going to let this thing take the place of the podcast? Like, that's not going to happen, number one. And number two, even if you cancel it, you're not in the mood to do it. Your body is not going to cooperate, and we're not going to do it because we're saturated. And that's what the kind and firm response is for our somatic health. So the thing that now that we trust the world adjusts, something will have to come, some extension will have to come, or we will just not get the benefits of this situation or whatever it is. Like it's at zero. There's no exception that I'm making for my homeostasis. There's no exception for my psychological, spiritual, sensual, mental, physiological safety and assurance. There's no exception. Zero. None. Done. That's it. So I was like, oh well, you messed with the wrong one, because I'm out here becoming and raising wrong ones.
Wrong ones. And the only reason I didn't get your messages was because I decided to go out on that walk with Soleil today. So I didn't have data on my phone, and we made it around through the neighborhood and went to the outdoor gym to hang out for a little while. Mm-hmm. So when I came back, all I saw was your message saying disregard the missed calls. So I didn't even know. And honestly, had I gotten your message saying that you were feeling overstimulated and that you wanted to cancel, I would have just been like, okay, sure, we can cancel.
And that was the point. I knew you would, but that was the point. It was like, if you're going to die today, transition thriving, if you're going to make that investment in the well of our wellness, this is not something you take off of the schedule. This is not something you take out. This is not something we're extracting or subtracting.
Yeah.
If anything, we're going 3 hours on the podcast today on purpose. Like, I am not doing this because this is the injustice. These are the subtle injustices that happen where communication is not effective. You've put yourself out, and it was a situation that kind of left me feeling helpless, and I started blaming myself, and I was like, but I did everything I could to find out all the information I need, and I was like in this kind of voice, like, but I did everything. I was like, who what, like, who am I? I don't negotiate with terrorists. You are an emotional and self-esteem terrorist, and I'm good on you. I'm not doing this. Life will send me a miracle, or it's not mine. I'm done. I'm not subtracting things that take care of me. I'm not subtracting things that have the capacity to hear me scream and speak and express myself. I am not subtracting things that make me feel like I'm too much or I'm too sensitive. I'm sensitive for all those who are not paying attention.
Yeah.
I'm carrying the extra weight of the balance, and it's fine. I'm not complaining. It is just a fact. And I'm stating facts, and this is unjust, and I'm not canceling on my own watch, canceling one of the most effective connection and spaces that I have. Like, no, that's no.
Yeah.
You tried it though. I won't lie, you got close. It's all good. That just shows us our capacity. It's like, double dut, got it.
That is exactly how I feel with regard to a lot of things there are a lot of things that I love, and I put them on a back burner in becoming a parent. For example, when I got pregnant, I figured, okay, so I'm not gonna be wearing my heels as much. Maybe I should sell some of them. I sold majority of my shoes, and I stopped doing a lot of my practices, like a lot of my self-care practices that I considered as being too much. So I would do the bare minimum. I would take a shower, maybe comb my hair, brush my teeth. The combing my hair didn't happen very often, and that's completely fine. Like, when I think about the time, like the phase that I was in, I didn't feel like taking the time for that. I was focused on other things. But there was also a part of me that felt judgmental of the part of me that wanted to do it still, feeling like,
yep,
I don't need this. I'm supposed to be doing this instead. Yep. And it's funny, when I was doing my shopping on Sunday, my little Amazon shopping spree, I almost spent the money buying new stuff for Soleil, because I felt like that's what I should do, as a mom, like just, buy him something. But then I realized he had not even seen the last thing that I bought him. Like, I bought some stuff for myself the week before and picked them up. And he was by his dad at the time. So I had bought him something. It was sitting there waiting for him. I'm like, no, Zan, like, you really don't have to. You can spend all of it on yourself. Like, that's completely fine. You can spend it on indulgences. My best friend actually had to tell me, because I was about to spend it like buying stuff for the house and things like that, responsible things. Yeah. And she said, no, Zan, it's birthday money. Like, don't even look at that stuff. Yeah. So it felt good for me to say that again.
I say the coercion though of the notion of responsible things, like it is, because you're teaching kids, we're teaching everyone around us to take care of themselves and each other and us. Like we're all humans it's a lifelong journey of us learning to take care of ourselves. So if you don't, contextually as a parent, as a mom, up up and increase your way of taking care of yourself so that you can show them that they're not a burden, that even and especially with them there, you're still so phenomenal at taking care of yourself and taking free time and taking your time and theirs. Like if you don't show them that you are able to maintain that boundary, then eventually they end up internalizing that they are a burden to you and they stopped you from taking care of yourself. And that's when this oppressive entity wins, because it's like then the family unit gets broken in these subtle ways that you can't put your finger on, because you resent the kid, the father, yourself. There's so much like resentment just seeping in through the cracks and cracking it, and just so much water damage in our pipes in our emotional fluidity and flow. So yeah, that's a very powerful. I'm so thankful for that, and I just wanted to. I know I cut you off to say that, but I remember where you were in speaking about your friend telling you to get back to spend the birthday money, but just because you said because it was quote unquote not responsible, and I'm like, yeah, we have to face that coercion of the notion of what is responsible, and be honest and kind and firm about our ability to respond in a way that shows self-care to self as a nurturer and the nurturee, because who wants to be cared for and feel like they're a burden? None of us want that. Our kids don't want that, and we don't want that.
Yeah, it's so true. What you said, while you were saying it, it dawned on me that that also applied a lot to the way that I spent my time.
Yeah.
Because earlier on in my parenting journey, I would work way more than I do now. Like I just felt like I always had to be working to make sure that we had everything. There was actually times like I'm almost cringing now when I think about it, but there are times when I would be talking to Kevin while he was in Canada and saying like, I'm so tired. I feel like if I stop moving, everything is just going to fall apart, because I was just doing so much. I was working a lot. I was, cooking meals for Soleil before school so that he could have it at school. I had to cook it by a certain time so that he could leave with it, get back, start work, pick him up, bring him home, get him ready for bed, clean up. I just felt at that point in time that if I stopped moving, that everything would just fall apart. And now
that's when you know what I say in Secret Dialogue, by way of osmosis, we drink the Kool-Aid, like it absorbs in our skin because we're around that energy in the world. And you have to really lovingly look at yourself and be like, no.
At all, that's not me. Now realizing that my work schedule just shortened to like 3 days.
That's right.
And I can spend more time with Soleil. I can cook at whatever time feels appropriate that day. We can leave the house at 10 o'clock in the morning and go to the outdoor gym and just hang out. And there was something that I mentioned to you on a previous podcast where I had this realization where it just dawned on me that everything is not my job. So I have to keep reminding myself of that and training myself to not make everything my job. Do what I need to and make time for what I want to,
So I'm gonna just throw it fully over the edge and say it's really the ultimate goal for us in that somatic space is to do everything, every single thing from inspired action and joy. Like if it doesn't bring you joy, if it's not coming from a VAP space, inclination and impulse and alignment of, what I feel like doing now, if it's not falling within your body's, your mind, your soul, your heart's ability to respond with ease and peace and ecstasy, it's not yours to do. Delegate it spiritually and physically, metaphysically and physiologically. Delegate it. Delay it. It's not to be done in this season by you. It may not be yours at all to do. It may be yours to do with someone else, and that paradoxically shifts the whole dynamic of it, but it's not yours to do at all. Unless it's clear, unless you feel you change the I have to do this to I get to do this. Like I get the unique opportunity to do it, unless you genuinely feel that, and very kind and firm, until such time as you cultivate the power, the energy, the perspective, the support, the sustenance and fuel to do it that way. It's not yours. It's not yours to do it because you won't be doing it well with wellness, and it will break. It will break. I've had to learn that lesson in hard ways and soft ways, and life keeps teaching it over and over again. Align with the season of it, the body's season of it. And I mean literally phases of the moon time. It could be something you hate doing and you could end up in the next millisecond wanting to do it, or you could end up never wanting to do it. but give the body that permission. Set like a phone, set your permission settings to, I will do this as soon as I feel psychologically, spiritually, sensually, physiologically safe and comfortable and excited about it. And that sounds scary because most people will feel when you've never done it before. It takes practice. I've been doing this for years, right? And still look at what I had to, the roller coaster I took myself on today, and that's fine. I love myself through it. It's all good. But I've become really good at it, and it doesn't mean that it ends. The turnaround just becomes faster. But when you hear it the first time, you're like, well, I'll never do anything then. Well, therein lies the whole issue with your life. If you hear me say this and you say, well, I'll never do anything then, it means that you have been living a life where there's been no validation, consistent coercion and manipulation, and it's not your life. There's nothing that you enjoy doing about it, and you're living suicidal. And I mean, I am a trauma therapist. Definitely call me if that specifically triggered you. But you can get my information from Zan and on my page. But that, or wherever that will work out, wherever that you feel comfortable. But it is true that you have no will to be here. And sometimes we spend our whole lives cultivating the will to be here because we just ended up here, as far as we are consciously aware. So be very kind and firm to the journey of learning to even want to wake up in the morning and be here, because it's difficult. That's just the truth.
Yeah. I've actually experienced the exact same actions in both of those ways. And even with regards to my parenting, because, before I got to that point that I mentioned to you, where I felt like everything was just on my shoulders, and if I stopped moving, that, things would fall apart. Before that, all of those actions were things that brought me complete joy. Like I used to really enjoy packing lunches for Soler to go to school. Like I would put so much thought into what I would pack in his lunch, like, what nourishment I'm offering him, what his food looks like. I would make everything look so cute. Like I was really into it, really into taking him to school. I would even volunteer at times at his school on a Friday to do arts and crafts with the kids and all of that stuff. So at some point, it just got really tiresome to me. And I realized that I was not even enjoying that part of parenting. Like there were a lot of parts of parenting that I was not enjoying for a while. And I think a lot of it had to do with, like you mentioned, other pressures in life that were just overwhelming me to the point where the things that I used to enjoy, I don't even enjoy anymore. I remember when I mentioned that to Kevin, he actually noted to me, he said, like, you don't even want to cook, because I would be complaining like, I have to cook today, like, and he said, Zan, you used to love being in the kitchen, like you used to love cooking so much. How come you don't want to cook? And I realized that there was just too much going on in my life. We were in the middle of a pandemic. I was working. I had Soleil at home. I had just moved. I was overwhelmed, completely overwhelmed.
Saturated. That was me this week. I didn't want to make breakfast for my baby, my inner child self. And I was just like, she was like, Mommy, like, I'm hungry. Like, I'm like, I don't want to go in the kitchen. I need somebody to cook for me. Like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything. And my cousin and I have this inner child voice that we do, like, I don't want to. I don't want to. I've been having an I don't want to season. And I need a chef. But
sometimes a chef. You know, sometimes like, you know, at that point, I did this thing where I would have, like I hired somebody off of the internet to do summaries of stuff that I needed to write. And then I would use their summary to rewrite it in my writing style so that I don't have to think too much about summarizing an article that I don't want to read. And I can just put my spin on it. But it made me realize that there are a lot of things that I can delegate in life and focus on what I actually want to do. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with delegating those tasks that I'm not thrilled about.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely, I think that that's a highlight for me for today's talk for us is internal and external delegation. Internal as in you might be doing something intellectually and you may want to do it more sensually, more spiritually, more in thought and essence and in mind. So like do it in a way and do it at a time and do it in a season when you feel the impulse to do it. And then obviously as well, ask for help, assistance, seek partnership, let your heart break fully when I say that and you go, there's no one I can ask. Okay, beyond being angry about that, let yourself be hurt about that. Open your heart, right? I always say open-hearted beyond broken-hearted becomes a lotus and pushes up. Allow yourself to fully experience, oh, freak, I have no one. Freak as in frequency. Stay there lovingly, kind and firmly in the frequency of admission, of acknowledging your inventory. I have no other person besides myself who will do this for me. And then begin a journey to change that. You deserve people in your life who you can call. You should have minions who are bringing you food to the door and picking up this person or thing for you and blah blah blah. That's the ecological space and environment and access that we live in. The tree isn't just growing by itself out there. It relies on the sun and the soil and the water table below the earth, and we have that. This morning in that space, I was so sad, and I opened the window and I said, I'm going to name the tree outside my window because I've been looking at it forever and talking to it sort of in my mind. But I went to the window, I said to it, can you just look at me and witness me? And I started to cry so much because I could see it seeing me, and I could see it seeing, like, you know, I see you. I could see it like telling me, I see you. I see your roots, I see your branches, I see your trunk, I see everything that you're doing, Zai, and I love you so much. I could hear the tree giving me life. I was delegating to the tree, like, send me some inspiration, like send me something, I'm tired. And it did it. It did it, you know, and it's hard for me because of where I am right now, because I've always been able to go to the ocean, and I had high access of that being in St. Lucia, and not in St. Lucia right now. So I've had to really go through so many radical shifts and changes of utilizing my metaphysical tools, and I am doing them, and I'm doing very well at them in many ways. But this time and this season that I am navigating is calling for exponential and fractal levels of stillness and kindness to myself, and delegation of who is showing up for you in human form beyond the metaphysical and all of that. You are here divinely in human form, and you show up in human form for so many. So call it up, call it out, call out that judgment, like, you will stand by me. You will stand by me. You will stand with me. You will dance with me. You will support me. You will be here. I decree it. I declare it. I want it. I need it. I deserve it. I enjoy it. I celebrate it. I acknowledge it where it is, and I acknowledge where it's not. And I'm only here for it. I'm only here for that ecological reciprocity, dance, and erotic flow and pulsation. That's all and only explicitly what I'm here for.
I love that. I love that moment with the tree, honestly.
Yeah, I needed that so much, you know. And I was like, I'm going to be sitting on my rock with Siren in a moment. We're going to be out there in the middle of the ocean, sitting on our rock, talking about what it's like to be human. And this is what it's like, you know. We're here for this human experience, and these are the highs and lows of it. This is what our rooted reign is like on earth. Our blood red, raw time here, decreeing and declaring and submitting and scribing what really going on this planet.
Yeah, that's really taking place.
Your highlights of the talk today?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm really enjoying like listening to your experiences right now. And I love the perspectives that you're offering. It's giving so much context to just my life too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many things, you know, happening all at the same time, all the time.
For recording, I'm gonna end this and we can do a part 2.
Oh, we can. I mean, it doesn't matter to me if we keep it going, you know, unless you want to.
Me, yeah.
Yeah, that's no problem then.